So let's talk about the math behind the brackets. I mean, how hard can this really be? We're talking 32 games in the first round. From there you get 16, and then 8, and then 4, and then 2, and then 1. You only have to predict 63 games correctly. But keep in mind, last year, ESPN had over 8 million brackets, and not a single one was correct after the first round. So how many total brackets can there be? Well, at one level, it could seem like there can't be that many options. But in math, we learned that things can grow really quickly. This is what's called exponential growth. There are 9 quintillion brackets. I mean, what is that number? 9 quintillion? If you could create 1 billion brackets a second, how long do you think it would take to create 9 quintillion? 2 to the 63rd power. 300 years. 300 years. 300 years. That's why Warren Buffett is willing to insure this for $1 billion. He's betting that somebody won't do it. But clearly, somebody can. So how do you pick a perfect bracket? Well, it's not easy because some of the games seem like they'll work, but it's called March Madness for a reason. There are upsets. So what if you just flipped a coin? You just flip a coin and that determines who's going to win. I mean, clearly that could produce a perfect bracket. Well, I tried this in my book, Math Bites by Princeton University Press, and I found that when I did it, on average, 98% of the brackets from last year, again on ESPN's online tournament, beat my coin-flipped bracket. Not the best method in the world. So let's try something else. How about looking for patterns? Mathematicians like patterns. Well, let's listen to some of these. First of all, a human mascot by the national champion team has been 10 more times likely than one that's a reptile. So maybe you want to consider that. Not sure, but you could. And the other thing is, every national champion since 2004 has had blue. Oh, except last year. It was Louisville, which was red. Well, anyway, it's a pattern, so you could at least try it. So clearly, it is possible to pick a perfect bracket. And you might want to go out and look at different ways that people actually say to use math to pick perfect brackets. I actually do some work on that. But let's turn the tide and talk about what about if we had $1 billion? What if WearWoof had $1 billion? What difference would that make? What difference would that make for animals? Well, first of all, $1 billion? $1 billion would be 2.6 billion cans of cat food. How much is that? Well, if you stack them one on top of each other, that would go around the Earth about 2.5 times. That's a lot of cat food. $1 billion. $1 billion, how much is that? $1 billion is 5.5 billion bowls of dog food. How much is that? Well, it turns out that is about 170,000 tons. How much is that? Well, that isn't just one, not just 2 or 3 statues of liberty. What is that? That is over 6,000 statues of liberty. That's a lot of dog food. So again, how much is $1 billion? What difference could this make? $1 billion equates to 20 million spay neuters. It equates to 167 million peanut butter-filled Kongs. Those are some happy dogs. And it equates to 250 million rabies shots. $1 billion? It could make a huge difference. So Warren Buffett's laid it down. He's insured $1 billion prize. He's done his homework. And while it's not probable that someone will create a perfect bracket, it's entirely possible. So WearWoof, I wish you well. And for the turkey, I wish you well, and may the odds be ever in your favor.